but it's all endured by one person. Did you just start recording now, or were you recording?
Well, I was recording, but I switched cameras. That's all. Yeah, the other one ran out of memory, so.
No, you're not using your standard thing that you record Tiny Chat with.
Right. Well, I just figured I'd do the video since it's here, right? What's the difference?
Well, this is not a immediate upload or anything, right? Because I'd like to hear it before you upload it, if you choose to upload it.
Yeah, that's fine. I can just put it on whatever that is, hidden, and just give you the link, and you can look at it. I just figured there'd be something to the. I mean, I might as well post a video if possible. It doesn't matter. So it's half me or half you or whatever.
Yeah, no,
it doesn't matter to me. It's okay if you want me just to do an MP3. I'll just rip an MP3.
No, I'm fine with the video. I just want to make sure that I hear it before we post it, just in case I think some part is kind of.
Yeah, I know you're very.
I pull a word or something.
I understand. Right? I understand.
I've had a lot of videos I never uploaded because I fumbled a word and I reshot the whole thing, and then I hated the whole thing the second time, so I just didn't upload it.
Yeah. Well, we're all anal, but we're all anal about different things. Yeah.
I'm especially anal, I think. But yeah, no. I mean, that's the average versus total. Is you can endure 1,000,000 harm units, or 1,000,000 people can endure 1,050,000 harm units. But I'm still going to say that I'm going to go, okay, even if it's the total overall more, as long as it's being endured split up by that many more subjects, then I'm going to say I don't care if it's a total sum that is higher, because it's split up.
Well, I'm not going to disagree with that. I mean, I don't know like I said, we're cutting this into, like, I keep using this physics analogy, so I hope that doesn't bother you too much. But I mean, yeah, I mean, you can almost.
It does actually, it kind of does. But go ahead.
But well, I'm just saying, because you have factors. You know what I'm saying? You have like times squared, right? Times its hypotenuse squared. But like something like gravity. Okay, gravity increases by its distance squared. You know what I'm saying? So the energy level is a function of some square of the distance, and so you could argue that with suffering, there's a likewise scenario where the more it's piled into one individual, it starts to square the effect. And so a little bit of suffering in one individual is now 16 units, where in 4 people it's only 1 unit.
I understand that, and I should send you a fucking hour-long video I shot where I devised these whole scenarios, but I never uploaded it because it's on my old laptop and I need to dig it up. But I devised all of these things, and anytime I say 1,000,000 versus 1,000,001 or something, that is taken into consideration, right? So I don't omit the squared aspect. It is with the squared aspect that I'm tallying these things. But yeah, we shouldn't go over that, because I'll probably just end up uploading that video, and we could deal with that bridge whenever we cross it. So yeah, I didn't much care for the manner in which you dealt with my counter psychology critique, because I didn't mean to disparage people who reach this conclusion through, I guess, a personal sense. I just dislike how often you make it seem as though it's everything that's believed by this side is counterintuitive and can only be reached after we have some sort of a trouble reaching it emotionally, and we have to really be, I guess, emotionally courageous, and we have to try our best not to believe it, whereas the other side believes everything they believe because they just want to, and it's that simple, and we have these two piles, and tra-la-la-la, and look at us, we're so wonderful and brave, and we're valiant thinkers, and it's not that simple. A lot of people gain catharsis because of their position, be it a pessimistic position or an optimistic position, and I just thought I made some really neat examples in the post, and you just sort of shat on it and said it's nothing. And
yeah, well, I know. Well, you reposted it in the comments, didn't you? Isn't that the one where you posted your statement in the comments? I think you even quoted yourself. I'm not sure if that was the video, but yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, I did. I did.
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay, so we all time. There's sometimes I make a video and I say, God damn, that's such a good point. How could anybody miss that point? It's so brilliant. But yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't think it was such a brilliant argument to even initiate, because it just gets into this whole. I don't think there's any way. I'd like to be able to separate and say there's some sort of way that a computer could possibly know what it means to suffer without suffering. But I don't think it could, okay? Like, how would I explain feelings to a computer? Impossible, right? So
but that's a different. That doesn't even. I don't see how that even enters into the equation of what I was arguing. Like take a look at determinism. Okay, now there's this view that determinism is depressing, right? Now, I mean, chances are, if you're a loser, well then, if you don't believe in determinism, then everything is in fact your fault, right? Your stake in life, your shortcomings. Well, then, yeah, you are directly to blame because you have the ability to alter your future, and it's just you're not really dealt a bad card. It is your doing. So the belief that determinism is in any way depressing typically would only get expressed by a psychology that is proud of itself in the first place, right? And that doesn't want to admit that they were just dealt a good hand in life and that they earned it themselves. So you can sort of see how this might cross over to other, quote-unquote, pessimistic philosophies.
Well, I'm just saying that, though. But we're always going to. I'm always going to concede that we're going to emotionally react based on our ego, and there's no way to separate the fact that we're sentient beings. We're going to emotionally react. You're making the charge that the philosophy is being corrupted by.
No, I'm just taking issue with the fact, sorry to cut you off, but I'm just taking issue with the fact that you always rag on your detractors by making it seem as though they can't handle the truth. And I'm telling you, a lot of times, a lot of people, you look at some of those Schopenhauer videos, they are comforted by the very same sort of talk that you spout. So I'm just saying the inverse charge can be made. And that's all I'm saying. I'm not necessarily ragging on the philosophy itself in the section. So that's
yeah. Well, I guess I don't sense any of this. First, I don't sense that I've done what you've stated I've done, which is excessively harp on these psychological elements. But I mean, I certainly have said that, look, we have a really obvious truth here, and there seems to be a huge psychological incentive to deny the truth, like truths like determinism. Why does determinism get denied? Because people's egos can't handle it. They don't want it.
People's egos.
Well, I'm just saying, though, I think the vast majority of people who can't accept it have huge ego problems with this, and I think it's always tied to an ego problem because there's absolutely nothing threatening about determinism. All right, it's absolutely non-threatening, and yet they're hysterically overreacting. And you're saying, why are they doing that? Because they need it to be true. Okay, they can't.
They need free will to be dreaming.
Well, yeah, I think they need free will, and I think they need to think they are legitimately better than other people, and they've earned it somehow, and all that kind of crap. And they don't want to accept the fact that, no, I was really lucky. I got born in America. They just don't want to.
I just think a lot of blue collar stiffs who don't really have anything to show for their 5 or 6 or 7 or 8, however many decades on Earth, hell, or even a couple of decades on Earth. I think people who don't really go anywhere, yeah, you find out about determinism, the catharsis can manifest itself in that way, in knowing that you were just dealt a shitty blow from the get-go. You did not choose your parents. You did not choose the genetics you were born to. You did not choose your upbringing. And so, yeah, I'm not to blame. Oh, great, determinism kicks ass, right? So yeah,
I know, but I just don't even see that. I'm not saying that people don't have different interpretations, but I don't even see that as being the consequence of failure being failure. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you still failed. So it's not really going to help you much to sit there and obfuscate the blame in the sense that you're still going to be so it's too easy to just go back in your life and say, look, all I had to do was turn right instead of left. All I had to do was not, be a selfish fuck and, cheat on my wife or do this or do that. I mean, you're always going to be able to find that shit, whether it's determinism or not.
Well, if you'd like a personal testimony, I can tell you that I was a lot more owned and invested in winning a stupid fucking tennis game a decade ago before I learned anything about determinism. And it was gradual too. It wasn't like I learned about determinism and then boom, suddenly I don't care about winning or losing. No, it was a gradual process. The more I learned about determinism, and having almost been 7-8 years since I first learned about it, I could not give a fuck right now. whether I lose or win a tennis game. I just want to have the damn game because it's exercise for the sake of exercise. So I know from personal account that, yes, for me, losing sucked more when I thought I was truly, in some sort of intrinsic way, in control. But now losing doesn't really matter as much.
Yeah, well, I can't say determinism was changed that for me. I think I was just understanding addiction and ego. I mean, recognizing the fact that my ego was just exactly that. A dominant player.
There's certain people, though, that even though you can understand the strings that sort of pull you, there's certain people that just vanquishing a certain opponent is just undeniably kick-ass. Right? And I have a few, I guess, friends, you know, there's always the one-upmanship thing. We've known each other for decades, so it's just impossible. Doesn't matter how well I know the Borg, the DNA Borg, I suppose. I can still get lost in certain competitive things, but less with...
Well, I'm just saying, I do that every 15 minutes. I mean, there's no way... that's what I'm sort of trying to say about this section you wrote that I didn't like about it, is that I don't think it respected enough the fact that I can't disassociate myself from my psychology. All right, it's going to have an opinion, and my intelligence is going to have an opinion. And I'm just going to argue that I think my intelligence is smart enough to outsmart my emotional shithead, and I don't think that the corruption has to exist, and I don't think it has existed in how I have behaved. Now, in most cases. I mean, quite obviously, every time I get angry, yeah, obviously that's not logic saying, get angry, Gary.
So you're saying it's never logical to shout down somebody who's being a prick?
Well, I'm saying it's never logical.
You're pretty much saying stoicism is rational then, right?
No, I'm saying logic is rational. I'm saying it's good to be able to do things perfectly, but I'm saying as an emotional animal, as a gorilla who's carrying the computer, right? The gorilla is going to do things with the computer ain't going to think is too smart. And the gorilla is going to behave sometimes like it's going to be really pissed off. Like the computer will say, just make a rational counter argument. And the ape is going to say, no, I'm going to punch the fucker in the teeth. And yeah, so they're going to disagree with each other. And even though the computer should win, yeah, there's going to be times where the ape is just going to hit the pause button or whatever and just say, shut the fuck up, I'm busy. All right, I'm mad and I'm going to do something about it. Or whatever. I'm just saying that I can't separate the fact that I am a gorilla. I just am. And yeah, I have this thinking machine tied on top of me, sewed on top. but it's still a gorilla with a thinking machine tied on it.
Nah, I think you cut yourself short.
No, I'd say emotionally, I'm telling you, no, I'm an asshole. I'm worse than a gorilla. I'm a fucking baboon, emotionally.
So, you haven't advanced emotionally. You're basically telling me you haven't advanced emotionally since what? Since your teens? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I would argue that in many respects, yeah, I'm just as big, if you had a girlfriend and it was the right circumstance and I could fuck her, I probably would, damn it. Even though I know, God, Gary, that is such a bullshit move. I know, I can be seduced. I'm just saying that the monkey is still not a really good animal.
Yeah, well, I don't know how you can be... when we were talking about emotions, I thought you were talking about being pissed off at people online easily, right? People can... That too. Right. So I just don't see why you're doing the same old shit in terms of weekly uploads. I don't see why not invest in some sort of a long-term project. I guess you are trying to do the long-term project thing. You said something about writing a film.
Yeah, well, I've got these different things. I got the book project and the film project and the debate thing. I really want to see if I could get the debate thing to go somewhere because I think that's the way to start things is you got to draw people into these conversations and they have to be long and hard and tedious and difficult conversations.
But see, I think that to get anywhere, there's a reason why, maybe I shouldn't go into this because it's in a later section, but there's a reason why most influential thinkers throughout history and most contemporary ones, right? There's a reason why they always obtained followings, whether they're, adequately large followings or humongous followings, but there's a reason why they always did it through their written works. And even though this video thing has existed for 8 years now, more than 8, but YouTube's existed for over 8 years now, right? You don't see influential thinkers flocking to defending their ideas through YouTube channels. No, they do it in their written works. And I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. And that's partly the reason why I migrated to the blog medium, because I am fed up with the intellectual wasteland that is YouTube, right?
I know, but I think there's a counter argument to be made. I think there's a counter argument to be made that that's just because this is a virgin medium. These old farts can't even do it, okay? They don't have the same skill level. So it is a different kind of a medium. I think there are people that are breaking into it, so to speak. So some of it's migrating into here. I mean, what's his face? The one author has done a lot of videos, okay, about his books, defending his books, talking about his books. There's the guy you probably like, the moral wasteland or the moral.
Sam Harris?
Yeah, Sam Harris. Okay, he's got a lot of videos online. Not a lot, but I'm just saying.
I mean, he doesn't run his own YouTube channel. That's what I meant. People upload stuff. People upload lectures on YouTube, right? But it's not a person devoting their specific.
Well, I'm just saying that he has done a few different things where he's responded to comments in video form. So I'm just saying that he's breaking into the medium. All right. So I'm just saying that I don't think the medium. I don't think it's one or the other. But I do think that debate has value, and I think debate needs to be done in some sort of, where you have to do this talk it through thing. Because when you start writing 500-word or 10,000-word theses and throwing them at each other, I don't think that goes too far either. That conversation gets way too convoluted, way too fast.
That's been the crowning jewel of intelligentsia for millennia.
And they failed for millennia, in my opinion.
How did it fail?
How did it fail? Well, what subjects have they conquered in any kind of way, right? Oh, the Germans fought with each other for years, right? Did they really resolve anything in all of that arguing? Was anything ever resolved?
It wasn't resolved because the public at large did not take the time to read the works, right? But among themselves, there's been a lot of progress.
Well, I think it'd be just better to, like I said, I still think you need to fight it out in some way where your whole reputation, your character, your dignity, everything about you is at stake, and you go in with you fight in the arena, and you fight to the death. You fight it out until you come to a real hard conclusion. You say, look, this guy kicked my ass.
The moment you inject a face, a personality, and someone's pride into it, then you're going to get the idiosyncratic factor skyrocketing, right? And people are going to turn up the confirmation bias because they're going to be emotionally connected, because it's going to be their pride on the line.
No, it depends on who's voting, okay? So all you need is a good court. If you've got a good court, if you've got good judges, make good decisions. A good jury can understand the evidence and come to a determination of the right answer. And
my guess is you wouldn't allow a single anonymous commenter to be on the jury. You would have to appoint, you would think it would only make sense to appoint people who make videos. Am I correct?
No, they'd have to be accountable. Okay, that's all. They have to have some sort of credibility. They can't come from nowhere and just say, I know what I'm talking about. No, they have to they have to demonstrate some sort of understanding and some sort of credibility. And so you have to earn that somehow. But I'm just saying, I don't want to argue. I don't want to go through the logistics of how I would jury select. I'm just saying that you could have a selection process that gets you a quality jury, okay, that can judge the contest and moderate the construction of a good debate that argues things correctly and gets them to a resolution of what premises you're disagreeing about. Because it's always about premises, and you know it.
Okay, well, give me your jury. Am I on the jury?
Why not? Sure.
Okay. Who else have you asked?
Well, I haven't asked anybody because I first have to get somebody to participate in the debates.
I think this is what we're doing. We're not really getting that far, but I think that's what we're doing. Why
No,
not
no, I think
subject?
this is very valuable, and I'm just saying, yeah, I would like to see this kind of thing done on a deliberate way where people like me or you or Piro or all these people, and they have to go face to face, and maybe they can go even in a group form, and they can do it different ways, and then the arguments are evaluated by a jury.
People are gonna make it into a they're gonna invoke academic disciplinary philosophy rules into it the moment you do that. And there is a lot of you think my blog is minutia? Holy fuck!
Well, I
There's
know,
a lot
I've
of
seen
minutia.
them, and that's why I'm saying a good jury is not going to let them do that, okay?
Well,
I think the good jury is going to say, look, the rules are you got to speak a common language, you can't go playing with the vocabulary, you can't do this, you can't do that, so yeah, you got to be understood. So if you're going to start saying something that nobody, you start a Professor Einstein, you start talking about the universe knowing its own butt, yeah, you're going to get called, the flag's going to be thrown, and somebody's going to say, no, until you explain what the fuck that means, you're done.
well, jeez. I mean, a few months back when we had that brief exchange, you were even saying that the word epistemology is useless. So sometimes you take it too far in the other direction.
Well, I understand, I do, but I'm just saying that I don't like any of these words. Frankly, I don't. I don't like any of the common jargon used to, narrate, even narratives a little bit, but I mean normative versus, cloistered versus, I mean all this crap. I think is just crap. All right, we're just describing reality, and somebody, if you're doing something else, then yeah, do it somewhere else. Because yeah, I'm just trying to describe reality. Isn't that what we're trying to do here? Let's describe reality. Let's not make up reality. Let's describe it.
Right. Truth maximization, even if it's at the expense of harm minimization.
Well, I don't care. I mean, I don't really want to combine the two subjects of the truth and values. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the value equation. I'm just saying that I'd almost agree with you that the truth has its own value, okay? But I don't care for the sake of this argument. I'm just saying what's in the best interest of human intelligence, and what's in the best interest of human intelligence is opening up this argument, not closing this argument. Getting these frickin' ivory tower fuckheads out of their ivory tower and dragging them on the street and saying, defend what you're saying, fuckhead.
So, what if I were to show you the best-selling books? Right, just this year alone. Of course, I can go by my own hits on the blogs versus the hits on my videos. But since I'm small potatoes, let's just go with the macro context. If I were to show you that the best-selling books sell in far higher droves than the most viewed philosophy videos, would you still say that the video is the way to go?
Well, yeah, nobody's promoting the philosophy videos. Number one, we know we're invisible on YouTube, right? Nobody's going to find us. Okay, we're not even indexed, so that's already a dead subject. So yeah, I mean, yeah, you're gonna and we know that best-selling books become best-selling. We know it's a popularity drives popularity engine, right? How does a book even become a best-selling book, right? It has to be promoted by the publisher, it has to be promoted by the author, and then it has to be promoted by the media. So we know that's the scenario, right? And then if Oprah shows her book on her damn show for 5 fucking minutes, you get to sell 500,000 books. So let's not even have a discussion about pop culture and pop media, because we know that all I have to do is have sex with Madonna or something upside down in a Hurley wig or something, and somebody gets pictures of it and puts it in the Inquirer, and all of a sudden I just sold 500,000 books.
You think Sam Harris's moral landscape was pop culture?
I'm not. No, of course I'm not. I'm just saying how we know typically. I'm just saying we know typically how it works, and we know that there's the atypical example where Sam Harris is an incredibly articulate guy, okay, and he got published, and that's important, right? I mean, he got published, and he went out and he did the circuit, okay, and that's what you have to do. It's like any kind of band or any other kind of thing. You got to go out and you got to do the concerts and all the other bullshit to become a name. And once you become a talking head, you never lose that power, right? So we know that once you have popularity, it's really hard to lose it. All right, once you have the status, your badges, nobody takes them away from you.
Okay, well, before I move on, I understand your points, and I'd like to be optimistic about the video medium gaining traction, but I'll just leave you with this on that subject. There's a reason why narcissists, trolls, teens, and just pretty much drama whores infiltrate the video medium in far higher droves than the blogosphere. There's a reason for that, and it's because it's about FaceTime. The blogosphere is about the cold, hard text. It removes any other aspect and focuses in. It boxes you in to the argument. It's not about me. It's not about you. It's about the cold, hard text. That's all I'm going to say.
All right, but I have also seen comment threads that go on for infinity. I've been involved in them. Comment threads that lasted 2 years and resolved nothing.
Right, but at least we're dealing with, on the blogosphere and forums, at least we're dealing with far less narcissists, we're dealing with far less teenagers, we're dealing with far more committed people, as a general rule. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I don't know. They all sounded like lawyers to me.
Well, look at YouTube. I mean, how many fruitful exchanges have you had on YouTube?
Well, I'm just saying that's because we haven't made YouTube more than just a medium. Like, we're competing for the audience of 12-year-olds. Obviously, that's fail. So, I mean, I wouldn't, if we had the demographics of the amazing atheist audience, right, it's probably not a very attractive demographic. It's probably shithead.
I would shoot myself in the head if I had his commenters. I would shoot myself in the head. I would leave YouTube. So that's why I don't even know if I would want to be in the middle of highly subscribed YouTube.
No, that's why I've talked about the fact if we can make debate interesting, okay, give it a little bit of show, yeah, definitely give it some soap opera character, give it some interest by making it something like for money and for this and for that and for lots of other shit. We could get this shit on TV. All right, this could be a TV show. Debating can be a good, entertaining TV show. I'm sure of it. It just has to be done right. I mean, I grew up watching Firing Line, and I kept saying, man, if they did this show with people with a little personality, this could work.
We would get scalded. Well, they do. O'Reilly has people on. He's got the no spin zone.
But we know it's a spin zone. It's a complete spin zone. So we know O'Reilly doesn't mean anything because it's just throwing back and forth 2-minute quips at each other. Let's see if I can insult you in 30 seconds or less. Okay, I'll try to insult you in 20 seconds. Well, I'll get you in 10.
Well, C-SPAN, they've been going at it for a long time.
Another closed medium, though. No radicals end up on C-SPAN, right? Cliche talking head medium.
Well, if you want to be a radical, let me tell you, I mean, you thought atheists got a raw deal in the 50s in the U.S. being associated with communists. We would be scalded.
Well, I'm just saying we need a different system to decide who has the floor, okay? And so that we can argue about the politics and everything else, right? What's wrong with the politics? Oh, that's right. What's wrong with it is that we have compromised the politicians into shit. We need to get a Congress that has Klan members in it, that has communists in it, that has every kind of Fruit Loop in America is in it, and they need to fight the fuck arguments, and they have to have real arguments instead of these bullshit. My friend from Nevada, who I made a deal with on 15 different things so we could all get cartons of bananas sent to our house, well, fuck that shit.
My last video on the main channel is on the Electoral College. It's an hour-long video, and couple of thousand views after 18 months. Whoop-de-doo. But yeah, no, you mentioned politics, and I was listening to the first couple of hours of Tiny Chat. You said anti-bullshitman disagrees with me on everything. Actually, no, not really. When you think about it, I disagree on the preference utilitarianism to negative utilitarianism sequencing amid humanity. But when it comes to wildlife, we're in agreement on that. And then when it comes to the politics, that's still in agreement. So I don't know why you said I disagree with you on everything nowadays, just because I'm narrowing in on the specific subjects philosophically where I do disagree with you on.
Well, I know. I'm just going by the fact that it just seems like you're being awful goddamn nitpicky. All right. I mean, obviously, I'm not overreacting, right? I didn't go like, oh bullshit. I didn't go like, oh bullshit, man, anti-bullshit man. It's the biggest weasel motherfucking cunt bag. He's got baggy fucking foreskin. He's a fucking asswipe. I didn't do any of that.
You improved this time, but the last time, I mean, and even this time, I mean, you said the word nitpick, 15 times already. I think that's kind of bullshit.
Well, I know, but obviously we disagree, quite obviously, and I'm accepting the disagreement. I'm accepting the fact that you find what I'm doing problematic. I'm accepting that, and that's why I'm responding to it. I'm saying, okay, I'll read this shit, I'll let you take your shot, and we'll see what happens.
15 or so aspects, yeah, major disagreements. Like for example, say another one in my little bit on impositions where I wrote about, like, say we have absolute knowledge that a woman who is pregnant will give birth to somebody who will regret their existence, and hard. But let's say that the pregnancy was triggered by a rape, right? Now, would you force her to have the abortion? I say no, because I say the force of the abortion, when the pregnancy was not actually desired by the woman in the first place, is a bigger injustice compared to the injustice of having given birth to this person.
Yeah, well, now we're back to a social contract context now, okay? So we're blending back into a social contract where I have to respect somebody's rights to have kids in the first place.
No. She doesn't want to have the kid. The pregnancy is the result of a rape, and she doesn't want to terminate it because she's not comfortable with terminating pregnancies.
Well, I guess what I would argue is that I would aggressively try to convince her, okay, of her poor judgment with maybe whatever chemistry I could throw down her, whatever drugs I could get into her to get her to sign the damn consent form. Because, yes, she's obviously just emotionally doing something that's going to be totally wasteful to the impact of her this fetus. So I'm just saying everything within the permission of the social contract in terms of requiring her to have as much opportunity to understand why she is being an asshole, I would impose on her. So any inconvenience we can impose on her in terms of her education, I say we should impose on her. But yeah, in the end, I don't like imposing any surgery on anyone.
But the asshole factor really comes down to whether she intended to have the kid, and this is a 180 type scenario.
Well, maybe I can convince her to let me adopt the kid, and then I'll snuff him.
That's right, yeah, because the kid.
My whole 2-year-old thing, right? He's not 2 years old.
Find a 2-year-old in the middle of nowhere, and yeah, I remember your screaming fest with Christina about this a couple of years ago. You're gonna have fun reading about that. I mentioned you doing that in section F, I believe it was. So.
Yeah. Oh, I'm almost there then. Good. Fun.
We'll save that for that. But yeah, so what else? I don't know. If you got something, by all means, I'm listening.
Yeah, well, okay. I guess my only argument to you is just this. Like I said, I still don't think you're recognizing that what I'm seeing is the game like Neo in the Matrix. Okay, I mean, when you start to see the Matrix, all right, it changes the game you're playing. All right, because you're not playing a monkey game anymore. You're not playing an emotionally, personally, human invested game. You're doing exactly what I was talking about in the sense that if this was an experiment and these were just rats, you wouldn't sit there and psychoanalyze each rat's personality and go through all this bullshit. You just say rat A, rat B, rat C, and you would know that there's certain percentage difference in the rats and a certain this and a certain that, but you just wouldn't get hysterical about all this crap about, figuring out parsing. You just say, what's the bottom line is that the rats are getting harmed. Let's reduce how many rats are suffering. Let's reduce how much rat guts are on the wall.
Because rats cannot consent to their risk exposure. Yeah, that's why. Because rats cannot comprehend, much less consent to their risk exposure.
No, I think the argument I'm making is that we don't have a self-interest, okay? So we don't invest ourselves in a rat experiment. I'm just saying that if you have control over something, I don't even care if it's consent. All right? So let's just say it's your obligation. You're driving the bus, so to speak. Okay? And there's a big difference between you understanding that the bus has just got 25 Jimmies on it, okay? Like they're all Jimmy. They're all exactly the same kid, right? There's no cuteness factor. There's no preference factors. There's just 25 kids, and your math is going to be really easy. How do I prevent these 25 kids from getting... I want to reduce the amount of harm they have, and that's all I care about. I don't care about this interplay between them. I just care about the end result harm equation because they're just Jimmies.
Yeah, and when they are all just clones, pretty much, then sure, I'm game for that. But in reality, as I repeatedly mentioned, their beliefs are a major factor in determining whether or not they should suffer, and especially when we're doing the harm exchange ultimatums, proportionality, right? Because I'm not going to sacrifice 10 people who regret having been born to save 100 people who are fully okay with their existence from cradle to grave. At no point does it even
well, I know, but I guess I'm still going to argue that that's a grown-up thing to do, is to recognize stupidity and say stupidity is an exemption.
Doesn't have to be stupidity, because you and I have not offed ourselves yet, and there's a reason for that, and it goes beyond the janitorial imperative. I'm telling you, you may not accept it, but you've not offed yourself.
I'm just saying that if anybody's doing harm in the world, they're doing it because they're stupid. I'm saying all crimes against the value equation are crimes of ignorance. I'm saying that no one is Scrooge for any other reason than stupidity. There's no reason for anybody to ever be an asshole except ignorance.
But that deviates from what I said a second ago. Because I was trying to point out to you that people can live a full life, not regret having been born, and it should not be a numbers game where we save more of them at the expense of less people who do actually regret having been born, suffering in their place, right? So you're going to say that they're stupid, so therefore their preferences are a non-factor, whereas I'm going to say the fact that you and I have not offed ourselves yet, I'm telling you, that goes beyond our janitorial aspirations, and there's things in this life game that are simply interesting, and they don't necessarily have anything to do with hungry, horny ego indulgences. So we sort of cross...
Well, and they also have to do with the fact that I'm a bit of a pussy, and killing myself doesn't, I just don't want to fuck it up, so I want to make sure I have to do it while I'm, what I'm saying? I mean, I'm going to be afraid anytime I'm going to do it that I'm going to fuck it up, so I'm obviously not going to accept that risk until I have to.
You don't want to stick around just out of interest to see what happens next. Is that what you're telling me?
Well, I'm certain that that's not the only reason. Yeah, I mean, there might be a lot of little reasons, but I'm just saying a big reason I'm still here is because, I can't just snap my fingers and get out. So because there's been plenty of times where I've been bad enough where I'd say, God damn, if I had a gun, I'd blow my brains. If I had a gun in my house, I'd be dead. I'm pretty damn certain of that. So, I mean, there's been plenty of times where things have been bad enough where I would have blown my brains out, no doubt about it. I mean, I had a day where I almost jumped in front of a car. I mean, I walked to the end of the driveway and was, looking for a car, looking for the right car to jump in front of.
You had a good deal, though. I mean, you had, 1959? So what? That's a good time in America to be born. That's pretty much the...
Well, yeah, I mean, I loved it in the sense, look, I watched this land on the moon, damn it. I mean, I was old enough to watch it, I had Kennedy. Kennedy was shot on my birthday. Can't do better than that. But yeah, Nixon, I mean, all that shit, I was old enough to watch all that happen,
So why did you want to jump out in front of a car? What happened?
Well, I mean, no. I mean, I've had a life that's been marginalized by an anxiety disorder, and just the fact that I've always been troubled by this existence. I mean, I find this really revolting. I find what's going on every day revolting. I mean, it just
to the point you want to jump in front of a car. I don't see. Something must have happened. See, that's another thing I was arguing for is.
Well, I mean, how many dead cats does it take? How many dead cats does it take, or how many tragic witnessings of a ruined life does it take? How many times do you have to be struck by, horrific grief before you just say, "Oh, enough of this already"? I mean, you ever watch Little Big Man?
I did actually this past summer because I heard you go on about it in Tiny Chat. I thought, see, you're gonna hate me. Maybe I just need to watch it again. But I just thought, yeah, you totally oversold it. I did think you totally oversold it. Too long. Should have been an hour and a half instead of 2.5 hours.
Wow. Yeah. Well, whatever. Too long. No, it's too good a story.
Maybe I have had films where, yeah, on repeated viewings I enjoy them far more. So maybe I should watch it again. But what's another one you love? I watched a few that you were just absolutely praising. Some stuff from the 70s. I can't recall right now. You were praising films, and I saw them, and I'm like, oh, yeah. You were praising Apocalypse Now. I watched it, and I'm like, what? Nah, mediocre.
Yeah, I guess I'm just saying the Brando moment in that film just totally... I mean, it was okay, yeah, it was just a movie until you got to Brando and the diamond through his head thing. And to me that was he got me, he just got me, I mean, this is a bullshit movie until he did that. It was like a diamond through my head thing, and then I was just like, fuck, this is a great movie.
Well, 2 thumbs up on the 12 Angry Men, though. Now that was epic. I can't believe I hadn't seen that until a few months ago. And you brought up, you bring up every now and then the Meatloaf album, and I did listen to it, and lyrically it's abysmal, but musically it really is one of the best albums.
Yeah, I mean, it just is you're just saying, where the hell did that come from? I mean, it's one of those things where it's like there are those people who did that, the Beach Boys and whatever, they just had that, wow, they sure got it right, and you're never going to get that right again.
Yeah, well, the Byrds more so.
Yeah.
So, oh geez, what is it now over there? It's got to be 2:14 a.m.
Yeah, no, we don't have to talk it to death, but it was a good conversation, and we'll do it again, and I'll keep plugging along, and then maybe we can try. We'll just keep working on these differences in. I mean, I think there are these fundamental premises that are the substance of our disagreement. The premise of this: where does value exist? Does it exist in a reality, or does it exist as just this vaporous, crap that doesn't matter? I think I could get you to agree that it doesn't not matter. I mean, that ultimately you have to concede that it would make a difference, the universe, if it had Mars was populated by 10 billion suffering Jews and Mars wasn't populated by 10 billion suffering Jews, that those two universes would be different, and the value is obvious.
It matters in the temple of cognition.
Well, I'm just saying, if we're not here to witness it, it still matters that it happened.
But then they can say it matters in their...
Well, I'm just saying, even let's say they're too retarded to say it matters. Okay? I'm just saying, as a fact, we would say that... I think you could concede that there's a logical substance to recognizing the difference between the two universes. That you couldn't say that they're the same. Right? You couldn't say that there's a non-relevant or meaningful difference between the two universes. One universe has 1 trillion extra suffering things and one universe doesn't. You'd have to concede.
You keep saying I would have to concede because, you would need...
Intelligence would have to concede.
So an intelligence, if an intelligence were there, then an intelligence would have to concede. But if intelligence is nowhere to be found, then just in terms of ethics... Unless someone's saying it ought not to be there, then nothing in reality... I
know, but you're that's like saying if the cop isn't there to arrest the criminal, the crime didn't take place. And of course it still took place. So I'm just saying meaning isn't something we bestow, it's something we discover. Just like every other truth, value is a discovered reality, not a proclaimed one. We discover it.
I'm not saying the crime didn't take place. I'm saying nobody was there to say that it ought not to have taken place, assuming that the victim of the crime did not himself or herself believe that
it doesn't need somebody to say it, because we're discovering the fact that it's real. We're discovering its reality. We're not proclaiming its reality. So it's the difference between a proclamation and a discovery.
But I'm still going to have to go back to the fact that if we discover it, then you are injecting us into it. But then you want to say, no, it's not about us.
Well, I'm just saying we're discovering it like you discover the speed of light. We're deducing it based on evidence as being a reality in the world. I'm just saying, just like the speed of light, we're saying this is what it is because we've discovered its truth.
Yeah, well, that's ontological. Speed of light is ontological realism. Ethics is moral realism.
You keep saying there's a distinction. I'm saying they're discovered truths.
I guess we're going to have to kill each other.
Well, I'm just saying that's one of the premises we're going to have to keep arguing, because to me that's a fundamental premise. I mean, it's fundamental.
See, for me, I am a moral realist in practice, but descriptively speaking, there's no evidence of it.
Well, again, to me, there's all the evidence points to it, and the evidence of my personal experiences screams the loudest.
I'm just saying I conduct myself like a moral realist. The fact that technically, I mean, it's sort of like the agnostic thing. Technically, we can't 100% disprove God, so technically we have to be agnostic atheists. It doesn't mean it's 50-50. It just means that we cannot fully disprove God, so therefore technically we are agnostic.
Well, we could argue about that one too. I bet Karina's arguing with that one on you, right? She wouldn't go for that crap.
Well, yeah, actually, no. I get lost when she makes the counter arguments to agnosticism. Technically, I need to go back to those videos she made. She's going to be going to Germany on the 17th to visit her mom.
Yeah.
And her brother.